Shalom and welcome to our Zoom connection and healing. Good evening, Israel. Good morning, America. Welcome, everyone. I'm thrilled to welcome you to this special event of connecting and healing. A time when we come together to explore tools and approach for managing stress, enhancing mental and physical resilience, and finding solace in the face of uncertainty. Today, we have a privilege of being in the community of world-renowned experts, each offering their unique insight and practice to guide us on this journey. I'm Ronnie Weissman. I'm MBA and a Qigong master. I'm the creator of the Key of Life and leads a community of weekly meetings of Qigong awareness, science, and medicine. I'm honored to host this special evening of connection and healing that was crafted with care and love to our Israeli community. Before we dive into our program, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude for my partners to this event. First, my friend and colleague, Professor Elisa Epel, that when I wrote her a few weeks ago an email asking her to make with me such a Zoom for the Israelis, she came back with a lot of love and wrote me not only that she would love to do it, but also that there are 3 friends of her that would love to come and to give us from their experience in healing and healing trauma and tools for stress relief and building a resilience in these difficult times. Professor Elisa Epel, she will share with us a science-based approach of stress reduction. Rabbi Sidney Mintz will offer moments of reflection and prayer for peace. We also honor to have Jack Soule, a pioneer in collective trauma studies, guide us in building communal resistance. Profound mindfulness meditation of Tanya Lowenthal. As we gather here on the Zoom from different corners of the world, we are united by shared intention to pursuit of inner peace and a communal resilience. Our esteemed guest will lead us through a tapestry of practices. So let's take a big breath, open our hearts, and let this virtual space be a sanctuary for learning, connecting, and healing. The next hour and 15 minutes promise to be a rich tapestry of wisdom and practices that we can carry forward into our lives. Thank you for being here, for choosing to invest and to share with us this evening. We will start with the Qigong practice, which is named 8 Special Meridians. The 8 Special Meridians are the 8 special meridians that first developed in the womb. And we will do it like Chad Gadya, like we will learn one movement after the other one. Here we will have the whole series. All in all, it's 8 minutes. So let's stand and start. Camera.
שמונה המרידיאנים המיוחדים למידה. פלחי
Two hands like two apples, slice and release. Inhale each time we start a movement and exhale. We add apple,
פלחי תפוח, חץ למעלה.
arrow up. And we continue a few times on the same movement. I call it till the body knows, and then we will add the next one. Inhale, exhale.
פלחי
Apple,
תפוח,
arrow up,
חץ למעלה,
flower out.
פרח החוצה. פלחי תפוח, חץ למעלה, פרח החוצה, פתיחת דלתות, סגירת דלתות,
Again.
פרח פנימה, חץ למטה.
Apple, arrow up. Open flower. Open doors. Close. Flower in, arrow down. And from the beginning, inhale while we start the movement. Good.
פלחי תפוח, חץ למעלה, פרח החוצה, פתיחת דלתות, סגירת דלתות, פרח פנימה,
Okay.
חץ למטה, הולכה לכליות.
Apple, arrow up, flower, open, close, flower in, arrow down, energy to the kidneys. And from the beginning, all the movement. Open. Let's give a lot of play, space.
Morning,
to our
America.
heart, to our
Welcome,
lungs.
everyone.
I'm thrilled. Good.
פלחי תפוח, חץ למעלה, פרח החוצה, פתיחת דלתות, סגירת דלתות, פרח פנימה,
And we continue.
למטה, הולכה לכליות, ירידה ביאנג רגליים, עלייה ביין רגליים, לב, סגירה,
And from the beginning, apple, arrow up, flower, open, close, in, arrow down. Let's collect the energy, bring it to the kidneys. Wash the body, whatever we don't need, we give to the ground, collect a new energy and go up. Let's open our heart. As we know that we can close. And this is all the 8 meridians from the beginning. Good. So down, kidneys. Go down, release. Up. Inhale. Open our heart. And close. And again, let's collect the energy, bring it up, and slowly stop the music. Okay. How are you? Good to see you. Wow, I see all the friends here. It's more than my heart. Thank you so much. Okay. And the next part of the evening will be done by Tanya Loventhal, which is a mindfulness and meditation teacher and a consultant. She is a creator and leader of Shmanga, a space for meditation and mindfulness practices. Please, Tanya.
שלום לכולם, אני טניה לובנטל, נעים מאוד. אני שמחה להיות פה איתכם. So today we will try a meditation for peace, for ease, and for connection. So I have compiled modalities and ideas from various teachers, which is very Shmanga style. So let's begin by taking your seat. And by that, I mean sitting in a way that feels a little different. Sitting in a way that feels comfortable, yet alert. Sitting with a sense of dignity and presence. So not slouched, but also not tense. You know, in the moment of presence, the mind relaxes. So close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, or simply maintain a slight gaze. Let's begin by taking a couple of deep, long, and slow breaths, letting it all out. Again. Gathering and settling your attention in the silence after the sound of the breath. Letting your attention now settle into the field of breathing and the simple, intimate feeling of the body sitting with your whole body. Noticing the weight of your body sitting, the breath breathing. And as you settle, really noticing your wakeness, your spaciousness, your openness into which you're settling. Body and breath. May you meet this moment fully. May you meet it as you would a friend, with ease, with peace, with a strong sense of connection and love. Remembering that tenderness is love expressed privately, and justice is love expressed publicly. Open to feeling the connection right here, right now. With yourself, perhaps with the people in the Zoom, with people that you care about so much and that care about you, and with Jews and Israelis everywhere. We are all breathing the same air. No matter where you are, no matter how you are. Just like this. And now for the next few minutes that we have left of this practice, repeat the following phrases or mantras with each in-breath and out-breath. Breathing in, I calm my body. And breathing out, I smile. Breathing in, I calm my body. And breathing out, I smile. Repeating a mantra helps the body to relax and the body to settle. And the smile is not necessarily a happy smile, although it might be in this moment. But it's also a way to remind the muscles around your mouth to soften. We hold so much tension and so much emotion around our face, our mouth, our forehead, our tongue. So let's try this. Before I ring the bell that will signal the end of our meditation, and then you can open your eyes and return to the Zoom. So breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile. So slowly and gently open your eyes. And Toda Rabba, thank you for the opportunity to share these moments with you. And may we see and hear better news.
Thank you very much, Tanya. I feel much more calm now. Okay. The next part, essential breaks to prevent chronic anxiety, will be given by Professor Elisa Epel, which is an international stress and well-being expert and the author of The Stress Prescription, as well as the bestseller, The Telomeres Effect. Please, Elisa.
Thank you so much, Roni and Giddy, for planning this. I can't tell you all how grateful and excited I am to be here, connected with all of you, my brothers and sisters across the world. I'm eager to share some tips that I have learned. My own form of Tikkun Olam has been studying and trying to understand how this mind-body connection works, how stress gets under the skin to affect our brain, our nervous system, and of course, the most important question of how we can manage and live well with stress and trauma. So I have a few minutes built in here to describe, I think, two of the most fundamental principles of how we turn off the stress response and how we turn on the ability to feel safe and feel ease in this body despite all of the trauma surrounding us. And what a wonderful way to start with Qigong, and Tanya, such a beautiful meditation. These are exactly the strategies that we need to be using more and invoking, because our whole nervous system is in our body and our brain. It is not that we can think our way out of this. We need to really understand how this, this beautiful, amazing body or machinery that we were born with, how it works. And we have more insights today than we ever had. And so I would like to make 2 points right now. One is that collective trauma transmits in a new way, in a new viral way that affects all of us, the whole world, but especially the closer we are, of course, to the epicenter of trauma, to where terrorism, et cetera, is happening, and war. And the way that it transmits is through graphic images. We have so much new research understanding what happens to us when we see terrorism and graphic images on the media. And so now we understand that having this front row seat is actually creating a very similar trauma response in our own body. So we've always known, we know we need to take breaks from the news, take breaks from talking about it, but we now know that in a dose response way, seeing images and sharing videos actually creates a traumatic response in the brain that actually also leads to flashbacks. So these are direct signs of PTSD. And so it's very addictive, but we also just need to know and understand we're much more sensitive than we think. We carry trauma, both our lived experience and intergenerationally, in ways that shape how we respond to then what we see. So past trauma predicts viewing graphic images much more and having much more anxiety and health symptoms. And so we're not going to control the media ever, but we can try to make these wise choices to protect ourselves, to have breaks, to not share videos like that. And so we know from, just as an example, from 9/11, that 20% of people who were not even close to New York City, seeing the terrorist act, had PTSD symptoms in the wake. And the more minutes of watching the media, the more anxiety and heart, even cardiac issues in the months ensuing. And so I'll just pose some questions, which are, how can we use media more wisely to protect ourselves? Is once a day enough? Could it be high quality written news instead of TV with images? And how can we also use this information to remind ourselves that we might feel compelled to watch images because it's a form of bearing witness. The more connected we feel, the more we identify with what's happening, the more we feel compelled to bear witness. But that also means that we carry that anxiety to all of those around us. And so question is, can we have replace some of that time with what calms our body the most, the opposite effect of bearing witness to violence and horrors? And that is getting into both our sensory world, getting grounded into our bodies, and feeling socially connected. And so I will speak again a bit later about some of these science-driven strategies that can bring us to an ease state that can turn off the stress response very quickly. But just to build on the sensory idea, when we can tap into any of our senses, listening to nature, feeling our body, slowing our breathing, touching patting someone's back, giving someone a hug, petting a furry pet, these are what our nervous system responds to immediately and powerfully. And so it's not simple stress reduction, it's advanced stress reduction, for us to realize that we can use our body and get immersed in our senses, particularly in nature, in a way that we need now more than ever. So I will stop there and turn this over to my dear colleague, Rabbi Sydney.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. And thank you, Gideon, Roni, Tanya, all of us who are here who are desiring some relief from what is going on in our world. And I come to you just as a fellow earthling and human being, as a Jew and as a rabbi in San Francisco, to offer the addition of tefillah, some prayer, which I think is so much a part of what Alyssa just talked about in stress reduction, and what Tanya just did for us, and what Roni gave, embodied meditation with Qigong. Some people are very familiar and comfortable with prayer. Other people feel that they like to have prayers said on their behalf for them. There's a lot of research about prayers not ever hurting us, which I think is really important to remember, and that people, when they are going through some kind of stress or trauma and need healing, no matter who you are, where you are, that sense of being connected from other people's ability to reach us from wherever they are is very comforting. And I hesitate to use the word effective, because with effective, it means that in some way we can measure what the prayers are. And I like what you just said so much, Alyssa, about being outside and about nature. And I wanted to offer just a few short prayers. One of them is Rabbi Nachman of Bratslaw's prayer for nature, in nature. And this is his prayer that invites us to find solace and to find healing when we're outside. And for me, I do a lot of prayers, obviously in a synagogue, but I find that for healing and for lessening the anxiety and the stress of just every day, we need to be outside. And this is what Rab Nachman of Bratslav said. Grant me the ability to be alone. May it be my custom to go outdoors each day among the trees and the grass, among all growing things, and there may I be alone and enter into prayer to talk with the one to whom I belong. May I express there everything in my heart, and may all the foliage of the field, all grasses, trees, and plants awake at my coming to send the powers of their life into the words of my prayer, so that my speech, my words are made whole through the life and spirit of all growing things, which are made as one by their transcendent source. May I then pour out the words of my heart before your presence like water. Adonai, lift up my hands to you. Lihitpalel, to pray. Lasuach, to be outside on my behalf and that of my children. And we say then together, Amen. And the traditional prayer that we say for healing is the Misha Berach prayer. And I want to offer a Misha Berach prayer in two ways. One is lifted right out of the story of Moshe and Miriam and Aharon, where Miriam has tzara'at. She is afflicted in some way. And Moses prays on her behalf and says this very short, what I think is the first Misha Berach prayer, Elna refana la. Elna refana la. Whatever that source of healing is, that God, that is God, that is refuah, that is what Moses asks God to do for his sister. Please heal her. Doesn't say refuah shlema, doesn't say for a complete recovery, but Moses is crying out because he sees and feels deeply the pain of his sister. So for me, that first sense of asking to be aided by the divine presence and healing are those words of Moses with his sister being so ill, Elna refana la. And of course, many different musicians have put that to music, which I find to be also very, very healing. I wanted to offer all of us, all of you, especially those who are in Israel right now. I know it's dark there. The sun just rose here on the West Coast, but there's darkness, a lot of darkness. Amisha Berach for all of you, from all of us, just the little ways that we can pray and be together. We say, Misha Berach Avotenu Abraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah hu yivarech v'yirapeh kol hacholim kila shalanu. Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yemalei Rachamim Alav lahachlimo ularapato lahachziko ulachayato yishlach lo refuah shlema refuat hanefesh urefuat haguf betoch sh'ar cholei Yisrael v'cholei yoshvei tevel shta ba'agalau v'zman kariv v'nomar Amen. And finally, we say these words. We pray for all of you there from all of our hearts. We say, Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru Amen. So these prayers of healing, of energy, of wholeness, of shlemut come to all of us, all of you, and all of humanity. We say together, Amen.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Sidney. It's so wonderful to have you speaking to the Israeli community. We get to hear Rabbi Sidney here in San Francisco, and she just brings so much solace and wisdom through prayer. And prayer is one of the ways that we also can create a contemplative state of ease in the body. And it has been mysterious how prayer heals. But we, as a mind-body researcher, we now understand that it is also bringing the safety signals to us and to our body that allow us to have slower rhythmic breathing and allow us to feel not alone, to feel connected to our humanity and to a higher power. And that may differ for each of us what we picture, but we have this universal response to it, regardless of our exact beliefs and religion. So prayer is truly sacred for our healing. So I'm going to go through some slides, and I wish that we could interact and have be in the same room. And since we can't, I'm going to show you visual images as a way of offering something that you might remember and take home. And what I offer will be a soup. There are many things in the soup, and hopefully you like at least one of the ingredients and relate to it. So so please take what you wish and leave the rest behind. Okay, so I'm going to bring my slides. Okay, so I'm looking at Tanya. You can nod if you see my slides.
Yes, we see.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
Beautiful.
it is helpful for us to realize that we have some control over our balance, our what I call allostasis, how we regulate our mind-body states during the day. And so we don't just have we're awake, we're stressed or relaxed, or we're asleep. We have these subtle states that we can recognize. And so this ranges from very high stress, the acute stress response, which is beautiful and we need it. And then we want to try to turn it off when we're not under direct threat. What we are so good at is carrying around stress throughout the day when we're not under direct, we don't need to directly cope, run, problem solve in that moment, but we keep the stress response alive. And I call that yellow mind or moderate threat state. And that tends to be how we, our baseline state. And so we want to get to green mind. We want to get out of yellow mind and into allowing our body minutes or more of relaxation. And how do we do that? We send our body safety signals. We remind ourselves we need the explicit signaling because the stress signals are all around us. And, the discussion, the media, just the body's unconscious staying vigilance. And so the safety signals are what we've been doing already is grounding ourselves and having some mind-body practices. And even as Tanya said, reminding ourselves to breathe in, to feel calm, and breathe out with a smile. That's a safety signal. And our body needs to hear the words and go through the motions. And of course, there's deep rest states, blue mind states. How do we move through these? How do we move to be a little less in red and yellow mind and more in green and blue mind? We need to notice the levels of threat we have, our mindset, and move to a safety mindset when we can. We won't always be in a safety mindset, but we don't always need to be thinking and talking about our biggest problems in humanity and the threats to people we love 24/7. And it's so hard to create protected time, but this is what we need to do. So I'd like to point out just some ways that we can think about moving toward and triggering a safety mindset that allows our body these breaks that we need. And so our default mode is to feel threat of harm or loss, to be vigilant, to be looking for those those cues and to be wanting to problem solve. Having the emotions, fear and anxiety, and ultimately feeling alone. A safety mindset is feeling safe when we can by explicitly reminding ourselves. So even during meditation, saying to ourselves, let's just try it right now. At this moment, it's okay to relax. Right now, I can feel safe. And whatever words work for you, these are important. And our cells are listening and they know what that means. They also listen to our breathing. When our breathing slows, that's one of our biggest safety signals. Our body is safe right now. Other mindsets that help us turn on a safety mindset. The not knowing mind, being explicit with, I don't know the future. We don't control that. We don't control outcomes. This ability to be okay with the uncertainty, the insidious uncertainty. We hate uncertainty, but to actually embrace it and sigh and exhale with the not knowing. And that right now in this moment, we can be okay and safe, even though we don't know the future. The unknown future, which has openness and possibility. And in this dark time, in this horrible dark time, there is light ahead. There is, we know that we will grow, heal, come out stronger, forge peace. We don't know when, and we all do our little part, but the knowing that the light will come. And the acceptance of what is now, which comes back to the giving up of control of what the big things that we don't control and the finding the little things that we do control. So one statement in this radical acceptance mindset is things are exactly as they are right now. Reality is as it is right now. There's always this not knowing of the future, but the acceptance of how things are now. When we need to step back and reel in our striving, hopeful, vigilant mind, our body that so wants to be controlling things. Okay, so, and of course, hope and compassion. So thinking about the stress response, this is a typical stress response during communal trauma. I talked a lot about this during the pandemic, which is that as the day goes on, we have a buildup of anxiety and tension in the body, but not all of us. And so what's the difference between the person who has the slope upward and at the end of the day feels emotionally exhausted, or the person who has maintained the ups and downs and has kept their overall anxiety low? What's that resilience? Is that personality? No. It is the ability to actually withdraw from the tension, from the danger, from the stress, and take wellness pauses. And we all can do that. And so that's part of our resilience, is actually understanding how we need to immerse ourselves in the presence, in connection, in safety. And I study mitochondria. Our mitochondria is our battery, and it's sensitive to stress. There's nothing more expensive to our energy, our mitochondria, than the acute stress response. And so just think of your body as a cell phone. You need to restore it. And so you need to take these breaks. There's the bookends of the day. There's also breaks during the day. And that's what our mitochondria needs. So Tanya's meditation, I think of that as a catch and release stress. See what's there and let it go. And one strategy that might help, if you're not in too intense of an emotional state, you can actually sit back and collect data on your emotions. And so that actually is helpful information, is simply asking what emotions are present. There'll be so many right now. Naming a few specific emotions helps us move away from the big alarm response in our brain, the amygdala saying danger, 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 down to information we can use, understanding, emotional clarity, and problem solving. And then secondly, finding safety signals. We don't need, we can be aware of the danger signals. We can control some of them, like reducing talk in media about the war. But safety signals are easy, and we just need a few of them. It might be objects, aromatherapy, sense. That's one of our really primal but powerful, important stress reduction pathways is stress reducing aromatherapy, pictures of nature, of people you love, pets, and save people that you can both comfort and be comforted by. And so a word I'd love you to remember is co-regulation. There's no managing this alone. There's certainly, it's easy to become anxious through others' anxiety and to transmit anxiety, but it's even more powerful to be transmitting calm. And if you're one person in the room who is transmitting calm and ease and providing a wider perspective, you are co-regulating the nervous system of those you love, of those around you. So labeling emotions is simply noticing that doing a check and noticing you may feel overwhelmed and stressed, and then asking what's present. And you can use your body as a source of data. Often it can give you the emotional granularity that you might not have. You might feel confused and overwhelmed. Sadness and grief, getting down to those really core and difficult emotions and allowing yourself to feel them is the only way to release them. And when we can name our emotions and express them with others, with expressive arts, this is what we have been evolved to do through ritual, through arts. So bringing emotional clarity is helpful. We just published a paper, I can share the link with Roni, that is a scientific understanding of why prayer and mind-body practices from all traditions have this commonality for healing. And so there are many common elements, this social safety, see this blue ring, external safety being signaled, being in green space, being in a secluded room where you feel safe, where you can turn off the phone. We need to signal safety, music, nature, beautiful scents, and save people. So first we can think of how, remind yourself that you're safe, do something to feel safe, weighted blankets, sensory triggers for safety are so important and powerful. What happens when we do prayer or contemplative practice? Our breathing becomes naturally slower and rhythmic. And what happens in the cell? This is where we spend a lot of research time. We are telling ourselves it's okay to clean up all the metabolic waste from stress. It's okay to repair. We get to build back up our mitochondria, our energy stores. We feel less exhausted at the end of the day. So it's simple. Please try this. When you wake up, when you go to bed, when you hold the hand of someone with you who's feeling grief or feeling loss, feeling on the edge of vigilance, check in. Put your feet on the ground or lie on the ground. If you feel that you can handle it, doing a check-in, a landscape of what emotions are present, or just shifting right to the body. Slowing the breathing is one of the biggest ways. Let's do a physiological side together. We're going to breathe in twice, all the way to the top. One big breath, a small breath, and a long exhalation. We're going to do that 3 times. So breathing in like this, and out. Now do it with me. One big breath in, a smaller breath to fill up to the top, and a long, slow exhalation. Breathing in, again, and release. Breathing in to the top and release. And again, in Inhale. Again. And slow, long exhale out. That you can do within a minute, and that can change up and release some of the nervous system, shifting it from sympathetic to parasympathetic. Other ways are listed here: slow breathing, 6 breaths per minute, or yogic breathing. Of course, there's tremendous research showing that being in nature and opening our sensory gauge so that we're attending and feeling nature, listening, touching, is immediately reducing blood pressure, stress response. Then there's intense stress methods. I use these a lot. The top-down methods like meditation are secondary to me. And so I go right for the hormetic stress. Positive stress to the body can reduce acute stress. That could be cold showers. It could be hyperthermia or sauna. It could be doing push-ups or HIITs. The 7-minute workout is something we've studied in the lab. It works just as well as meditation and slow breathing. Okay, so thinking about trauma, the body wants predictability. It wants structure and routine. So just adding some of these, a ritual to the morning upon waking and to the evening, and adding some joy to it. And just thinking about what brings you joy. You might even write down 5 things. What brings you joy? Little things, big things. You might try our big crowdsourced study. We have about 70,000 people from around the world who've tried this. And we just bring in a joy practice for 5 minutes in the morning for a week. The website's listed down here. It's a free study. And we're simply asking people to do things like show kindness to a stranger, show gratitude and appreciation to someone. And we find that these really do increase well-being, emotional well-being, and sleep quality. Just waking up and asking, what am I grateful for today, can shift us from threat mode and wishing things were different to what's present, what's good right now. Creative arts and therapy, music, dance, movement, these are absolutely how we're evolved to reduce stress, particularly together. During trauma, these are non-talk therapy ways. And lastly, social support. Jack Saul, my dear colleague who's a world expert in communal trauma and communal healing, is going to talk about ways as a community that we can bring in support. So safe thinking about anything that can promote a safety mindset, even for a few moments. Wellness pauses, what works for you, and joy. This is a website that I've made it at our university that has a lot of ideas for dealing with moral trauma, moral distress, moral outrage, as well as tips for parents, videos as well. So I will end there. I have a website. I'm putting some free chapters from my book, The Stress Prescription, on this website later today. And it's such a joy to talk to you. And hello to my Israeli cousins, dear Danya, who is my age and my counterpart there in Israel. Thank you so much. It's such a wonderful privilege to talk to you all. And I welcome Jack Saul.
תודה רבה, אליסה.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you, Ronnie, for organizing this this event today, and all my previous presenters, and Alyssa for setting me up to begin to talk about why social support is so important in bringing down stress and also promoting mental health and well-being, particularly after trauma. So I want to first say that what I'm going to be presenting on is communal resilience. And I have to say the experts on communal resilience are in Israel, and my teachers are there. And you have some of the most wonderful programs for working with communities and groups to promote resilience after crises, emergencies, collective trauma. And I'm going to give you some resources that are in Israel in a minute. But first of all, I want to just define a little bit what resilience is and make the distinction between individual resilience and collective resilience. First of all, we can think of resilience as the capacity to access resources within our body, within our mind, within our social context, our groups, our family, our communities, our organizations, and our society in general, as well as spiritual resources that can promote our psychological well-being, our physical and psychological well-being. And this individual resilience is sometimes referred to as a kind of hardiness or grit or perseverance to continue to move on and deal with a crisis. Also, it has to do with our ability to connect with others and to give and receive support. But individual resilience doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists within a social and physical context. And in some sense, our capacity to be resilient as individuals really depends on the resources around us, the resources that we can get from other people, as well as our environment. Alyssa just spoke of our connection to nature, our connection to social groups. These, if we don't have access, then we're limited in the sources of resilience that can be important for us. So for one, our resilience is a function of the social and physical environment that we find ourselves in, but it's also a function of the resilience of the different groups. Families can be resilient. Communities can be resilient. They can have strengths, and it's not just the sum of individuals being resilient. There's a synergy that's created when people come together, and it's a kind of resilience that transcends individual resilience. And this is what I want to talk about here. How do we facilitate that communal resilience, which is such an important capacity to have in dealing with major trauma? We know that it is one of the most important factors in promoting mental health and preventing mental health difficulties in the long run. When people can feel like they are a part of a community, and a part of a community that is able to strengthen its capacities to deal with the current crises. And I think we're seeing this all over Israel right now. People coming together, joining different groups and communities. Israel is structured to promote communal resilience. In the holidays, in the Sabbath, that people can come together. Even though there are religious structures, as well as military structures that bring people together, and people who are not religious also can participate in those structures. And this is different from society like here in the United States. We don't have a lot of those structures. We have to invent them ourselves, or seek them out. So I am going to be talking about communal resilience from the perspective of me as a professional working with communities to help them strengthen their communal resilience. But also after 9/11, I was a member of the community, the neighborhood that was next to the World Trade Center. And it was a neighborhood where there were 4 or 5 schools, And all of the children in Lower Manhattan witnessed the people jumping and falling out of the buildings. They had to be evacuated from the schools, and then they were displaced from their homes and their schools for months. I know it's a different situation than what we're seeing in Israel right now, but I was fortunate that in working with my own community, one of the experts in community resilience, Professor Esther Cohen from Hebrew University, had just arrived in New York the day before 9/11 and I was meeting with her just right after. And she was able to teach me some of the approaches that they use in Israel to promote resilience in the school community. And it's an approach that provides support for everyone, the children, the parents, families, the teachers, the school staff. It's different from a lot of approaches we see in the States, which are focused on screening people for problems and then just referring them for therapy. This is to work with a community in the way that Esther Cohen was teaching me. It's about what can we do to bring people together so that parents can be supported to address the issues that they're seeing in their children. The parents can work with teachers collaboratively to promote a healing environment for children when there's been some kind of crisis in their school community. And then how do we, continue that collaboration between teachers, families, and school administration so that we can identify when people need extra help, when kids need extra supports, and then provide them with those supports. And this was extremely helpful for us in Lower Manhattan after 9/11, because what we were able to do was to we were able to organize community forums, and where members of the school community came together and talked about what we needed, and then to start to address how we could solve these challenges that we were facing as a community, and not just wait for professionals to come in and be the drivers of therapy or community resilience. We were taking responsibility to do that. And I know that's not always possible for communities. Some communities, I think some of the communities we've seen in Israel now, who come together from the kibbutzim and moshav, really need the extra supports from outside professionals to support them so that they can create a container so that people can be together and have a place where they can feel safe, like as Alyssa described. This safety is so important for reducing the stress and helping people deal with the uncertainty and the fears. And it's a place where they can express their feelings and have those feelings be acknowledged by other people. And they can do it in a place with people who have gone through something very similar to what they've been through, know some of the people who have been lost. So there's a lot that they can share together. And this kind of peer support, people who've known each other before and who've been through the same kind of trauma, being able to support each other, often with the help of outside facilitators, is one of the most important ways of dealing with trauma and promoting well-being in the long run. So what is powerful about a community is it brings together a diversity of people from different educational backgrounds, occupations. There may be artists, there may be technology people, there may be managers, healthcare professionals. There may be people, often people of different age levels. And so this diversity in coming together strengthens the resilience of a community. We know that people of different ages contribute to that resilience in the community. Elders who have been through other crises in the past bring a knowledge of how to cope with crises that young people may not be familiar with. They contribute that. And then children bring a tremendous amount of energy and spontaneity and playfulness and hope to a community that's been through a tragedy. And that's an important contribution to the community's resilience as well. So I think it's now that we're over 2 months after the crisis of October 7th, I think we're seeing that these containers have been important for a lot of communities around Israel. These places where people can feel safe, can come together, can experience some relief at times, can have meals together, can maybe even experience some pleasure and joy in singing. As Alyssa described before, pleasure and joy, even in the face of crisis or ongoing difficulty, is a really important source of well-being. And we shouldn't overlook the importance of that pleasure that people can have. So just to share a little bit, I just wanted to say that there is an organization in Israel called the Israel Trauma Coalition that promotes resilience centers all across Israel. And you know, they see that emergencies and disasters have dramatic effects on people and lead to post-traumatic and physical symptoms, a decrease in functioning, and problems in forming and sustaining social relationships. So these centers are very good at helping people take actions to improve personal and communal capacities that help people to continue normal and communal life, even in times of crisis. And I think you can look up Israel Trauma Coalition, and they have a lot of resources and training programs for professionals as well as community members looking to increase the collective resilience in their community. So, so what I wanted to say is that we're moving from this period in which the resilience of the community is about providing a container so that people can come together and support each other. But a community resilience project or community resilience is also about meeting the ongoing challenges that a community will be faced with as we move on in the weeks and months and years following a crisis. And while people can come together in the first phase and can be very supportive and bond and connect with others, over time people get tired and they get irritable. And I think that some of the mechanisms that we've all talked about here in reducing stress and in modulating these difficult reactions become even more important later on, because we need to be able to prevent people from acting out those tensions toward each other, which is a normal stage in a community's response to a disaster. It just happens almost all the time in communities over time, where people get tired and they start to retreat into short into small, safe groups, and then direct their aggression onto others who they see as the threat in their community. And people need to be able to modulate that in order to preserve the collaboration and cooperation with other members of their community. And I think I've heard that there's some of that, those tensions are starting to develop now. This is about the time. And people go into this kind of factionalism. So this community fragmentation really needs to be prevented in any way possible so that we can preserve the ability of the community to meet its challenges in the most resilient way possible, because community conflict reduces resilience. So we were able to, after 9/11, move into this stage where we worked together to support members of the community to create programs that were helpful for others. And these include a variety of arts-based programs, parent support groups. We had groups for different occupations like journalists, parents, artists, and these support groups continued for 2 to 3 years afterwards, and were a very important source for helping people cope with the aftermath of 9/11. One example of an arts-based group was a samba school that some members of the community developed. It became the largest Brazilian samba drum and dance school in New York City afterwards. And I want to also say that the collaboration that we were able to create between parents and teachers, according to the guidance of Esther Cohen, led our school to become one of the most successful academically in the state of New York afterwards, because that kind of collaboration often doesn't take place in normal times. And it gave a strength to our community and a support for children that was even greater than what they have during normal times. So we were able to experience this impact of communal resilience after 9/11. And I think that there are resources in Israel. If you are a member of a community or you're a professional and want to learn more about how to strengthen the communal resilience in order to promote recovery and deal with the future and current challenges, they're there for you. But thank you.
Thank you very much, Jack, so for all the interesting insights about building community resilience. Now we are going to the last part, which will be Ana Bekoach. It's a prayer. We will do it with the Qigong movement. So I would like everybody to invite you all to stand again, and this will be our time for personal prayer. Let's take a deep breath. We can feel our connection to this ground. Wish all our soldiers to come back safe, healthy. To see the kidnapped people back again at home. Let's feel our connection to the ground, our breathing, our connection to the sky, and that we are in the center start. Raise your hand. Open to the right. The left. Hands up. Bring the energy and clean. Go downwards. Around the feet and up. Again, to the right. With left. Bring the energy down through the head, to the feet. Inhale while we come up. And release. Now with the hands, collect and bring to the chest. Inhale. Exhale. Whole body. Camera. Good. Hands up. Collect. Go down. And now go from side to side. Up. Right, left, and to the second side. From side to side and slightly go down. Around the knees. And again, from side to side. And up. To the right, left, center and down. Open. Release. Together, up. Inhale. Exhale. And again, up. To the right, like a ball. Holding and release. To the left. And release. And from side to side like 8. And change. Another 2 times. Come to the center. Up. Inhale. Bring your hands to the stomach. Cycle 3 times. And change. To the chest. Keep breathing. Take our hands up, collect the hands, touch them. Feel our connection to this ground, connection to the sky, and our center. Make a small stretch, inhale, and while exhale, say thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Would
you,
like
Roni.
to I would like to thank to my colleagues and friends, to Elisa Apple, Dr. Jack Saul, to Rabbi Sidney Mintz, and to Tanya Loventhal that made this amazing evening for us and give us with a warm heart from their know-how and the experience and real good tools that can serve us in this during these days. So thank you very much, and thank you for all of you, all our audience, friends, family that gathered here together tonight to have this special event. So thank you very much.
We send our love. Shalom.
להתראות.
להתראות.
תודה רבה, היה מקסים. Thank you very much. It was great.
אם מישהו מכם רוצה להגיד משהו,
תודה רבה,
תוציאו
היה
את
ממש
המיוט.
מקסים, כן, היה ממש מקסים, עמוק, ממש עמוק, כאילו, השתדלתי להבין, אבל זה ממש דברים שנותנים טיפים, מאוד יפה. תודה, באמת תודה.
באהבה.
רוני יקירתי,
תודה רוני.
רוני תודה, היה ערב מפעים.
So thank you very much and take care.
Thank
בשורות
you.
טובות, ימים טובים, אמן.
להתראות.
אמן.
אמן.
אמן ואמן.